When a child fails, they usually laugh, reset the game board, and try again. But when an adult fails, we question our entire sense of worth. That difference has been bothering me lately because I do not think adults stop playing just because they grow up or because they suddenly acquire maturity overnight. I think many of us slowly murder that side of ourselves for a much darker reason. We get hurt, we get judged, and we get embarrassed. And we become upset with the result suddenly. And eventually, we stop playing. We start imagining like a child. We start trying things freely. Not because we become wise, but because someone along the way, life taught us that being open, playful, and imaginative is dangerous. And I know this is true because I did it to myself. I traded play for armor. Welcome to Entrepreneur Playground. Today, we are talking about why adults are dying inside and why reclaiming your ability to play isn't childish. It is the ultimate competitive advantage whether in life or business. When I was younger, I lived with a very vivid inner world. I didn't just read stories, I built entire cinematic scenes in my head. I felt things intensely. I was the kind of person who naturally operated with such a heavy dose of imagination. But there is a hidden cost to having that kind of mind. Because when you have a hyperactive imagination, you don't just imagine stories out of the novel. You imagine people. You imagine perfect business outcome. You imagine flawless future. You project incredible depth onto situations that haven't even happened yet. You put people and projects onto a pedestal, filling in the blanks with fantasy instead of truth. And when real life inevitably fails to match the perfect movie in your head, the pain is not small, it is humiliating. You realize you weren't dealing with reality, you were dealing with your own projections. You trusted an ideal and reality crushed it. At some point in my life, after enough emotional and professional disappointment, of course, I declared war on that side of myself. I started cutting things off. I stopped feeding that imaginative and sensitive side of me. A lot of it came from pure disgust. I felt like my imagination had made me vulnerable, foolish, and weak in front of other people. So instead of learning how to guide my imagination, I tried to execute it and destroy it. And to be completely fair, it worked. It gave me something valuable. It made me harder. It made me more serious. When you are managing heavy daily operation, handling staff, balancing finance, and making high-stakes decisions across multiple ventures, you cannot afford to live in a fantasy. Killing my playfulness made me incredibly functional and productive. It allowed me to carry heavy responsibilities. It made me a survivor, but it also narrowed my world, my capability, and my view towards the world. A part of me became highly efficient, but significantly less alive. And I think almost every ambitious adult can some version of this in their life. We trade our playfulness for the armor of seriousness because seriousness feels like safety and strength. When we are kids, we can play with almost anything, a cardboard box, a stick. We build walls out of nothing. We invent rules, we break them, we fail, and we restart without a single drop of shame. But when we get older, we stop playing, and society applauds us and calls it maturity. But I want you to look closely at what adults actually replace play with. Doomscrolling, mindless consumption, staring at the screen for 6 hours a day, escaping into content made by other people, whether it's game or a video, burying ourselves in a textbook and rigid routine just to avoid the terror of unstructured time. That is not play, that is numbing. A child plays, an adult escapes. A child builds walls, an adult runs stimulation from an algorithm. That is a brutal, depressing trait. And we do it because real play requires vulnerability. To play is to risk looking stupid. To experiment is to risk failure. To create something original is to face the judgment of the market. So, adults choose to become serious. But let's be honest with ourselves. A lot of what we call seriousness is just fear in a formal clothes. That is where the damage becomes fatal for entrepreneurs and creators like us. Kids can lose a game 10 times and keep playing it because to them, the game is just a game. But for adults, everything becomes an indictment of our identity. If a business idea fails, we tell ourselves we are incapable. If a YouTube video performs badly, we decide we are untalented. We no longer just do things for fun as an adult. We turn every single output into a permanent verdict on our value as a human being. And the moment you do that, play dies. Play requires freedom. It demands room for ugly drafts, failed experiments, weird ideas, and embarrassing beginnings like this. The moment every action becomes a test of your worth, your mind becomes too tense to create. You become rigid, defensive, and completely unable to try anything, unless success is 100% guaranteed. And that is a disaster, because the people who truly build original things do not just work harder than everyone else. They are the ones who somehow remain capable of experimenting like a child. Playfulness is not the opposite of ambitions, it's the fuel for it. The entrepreneur who can still play can test ideas faster. The creator who can still play makes better art. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying we should become naive again. The goal is not to regress into childishness or go back to projecting fantasy onto the reality. The goal is to discipline play. It means recovering your imaginations without falling into a delusions. It means using your imaginations not to escape the reality, but to shake the reality. What does this actually look like in practice? It means intentionally doing things without a guaranteed ROI. For example, you can spend an hour writing a bizarre script you know you will never publish. Or maybe you can open up a new AI video generation tool and spend the evening creating the strangest, most cinematic prompts you can think of, purely just to see what the machine speaks better at you. Build a prototype for a business you have no intention of launching. Do it not for applause, not for metrics, not to monetize it. Do it to remind yourself that your mind is still alive. Do it to remember that failure is not a personal insult. It is just part of the game. I genuinely do not think most adults truly want comfort. I think what we actually crave is aliveness. But instead of aliveness, we settle for stimulation or distraction. Instead of play, we demand control. Growing up was never supposed to mean killing the most vibrant part of ourselves. The real challenge of adulthood, the real challenge of entrepreneurship is this: to stay responsible without becoming too rigid, to carry heavy burden without becoming joyless. So maybe the question you should need to ask yourself today is not whether you are still ambitious or not. The question is, can you still play? If this video connected with you, leave a comment down below and tell me the truth. When did life make you stop playing? Or better yet, what is one playful thing you used to do that you are going to reclaim this week? Subscribe to this YouTube channel, Entrepreneur Playground, and see you in the next week.